Howdy, 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 my name is Anashi Sasuke, and welcome back to Let's Read Homestuck. In the last episode, we got some background about how Doc Scratch came about, from Aradia, and also other memories of other people's. Now it's time to be Scratch, after I clear my throat. You once again try to beat Doc Scratch, and fail spectacularly. You can't beat him no matter how hard you try. It's impossible, does it say. In fact, I think it would be for the best if I commandeered the narrative completely for a while. I trust you won't mind if I speak in white. It's not actually negotiable, but as a courtesy, I will enclose my words between a pair of visually audible brackets. I'm doing this because I can. I'm also doing it because I'm expecting a guest to arrive shortly. This should enable me to show the man the sort of hospitality he deserves, while doing the same for you. My apartment doesn't have a doorbell. Why would an omniscient fellow need to be alerted to the presence of a visitor? I know he will be right on time, which is to say, early. And if I did have a doorbell, you would have just witnessed it ring. He is already here. Okay. My door is not fitted with a peephole either. Those without eyes or without limits to their knowledge have no need for peeping, and I am without either. I have never once peeped at it or through something, and I doubt I ever will. Apertures built into physical surfaces to reveal what's hidden behind them are for those with particular handicaps. They are for those lacking advanced vision to render the opaque permeable to light, or those lacking advanced knowledge to render the concealed information irrelevant, or both. They are for people who I call suckers. I know the identity of anyone who stands behind this door, even in those cases where I have not extended an invitation to the visitor personally. Pardon me while I let Jack inside. Let's see if I can just... Zoop. Did you not believe it would be Jack? Who else would it be? Someone who would have suspected anyone else as a person I would also describe as a sucker. Ha ha. Hee hee. Hoo hoo. Hello, Slick. Won't you please end... Clock! Oh, for heaven's sake. Bonk, 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 bonk. I'm gonna do... Jack, stop it. Jack. Slick. Which would you prefer I call you? It's one of the strange points of uncertainty which surrounds you. Maybe it is that you don't particularly care. Your flair is for the plain and serviceable, isn't it? Not much of your vanity is tied up in a name, I'd guess. Not going to tell me? Fine, I won't tell you my name either. Well, I might. If you would just show some manners and stop hitting me with that ridiculous horse hitcher. I won't crack no matter how senseless the drubbing. If only it were that simple. You're not going to stop, are you? It will be very difficult to discuss our points of mutual interest like this. I was prepared to go about it in a civilized way, even though I knew very well I would spend the first several minutes of our meeting sitting on the floor while being flogged. I have even prepared a bowl of candy for you, which I know you will enjoy. Courtesy is important, Jack. Do you have anything at all to say? Any form of communication you care to attempt beyond the sound of iron makes against my head repeatedly? No, of course not. What's that? I see. You think you already know my name. You do not know my real name, Jack, just as none of your adversaries on this planet know yours. You only know my nickname. It's a good nickname, too. Befitting of the passive gunslinger charged with initiating the break. I am my master's weapon. His soldier in a war of one bullet's fired. But when that bullet clears the barrel, it won't be my finger on the trigger. I'm a facilitator, not an assassin. As he just bends the horse thing. Here. Jack, why don't you help yourself to some candy over there on the table? There's something I need to take care of before we continue. I won't be long. Scotties! Yes, good. Placate yourself with the Scotty dogs, Slick. My supply is bottomless. I am an excellent host. When I'm finished with this minor interruption, we will resume our gentlemanly negotiation. I will proceed to beat you severely until you agree to do what I ask. I trust you won't take it personally. Now, please excuse us. I have to talk to a teenage girl from another universe. Be a teenage girl from another universe. You cannot be a teenage girl from another universe because you are too busy being a teenage girl from this universe. You are busy being Rose Lalonde. Completely preoccupied with it, in fact. So preoccupied you have been neglecting messages from some of your friends who are trying to contact you. But you have a lot of important stuff to do. You'll get back to them later. Rose, pester informant. Let's see. It's quite warm here on Lohawk. I think I've been patient enough. When will I receive further instructions? Now. So, I could have contacted you at any time? No, only now. I came away with the impression from our last conversation that our next would take place on your invitation. I was being polite by waiting. Your inevitable impatience caused you to contact me again. Inevitability is my invitation. That's pretty smug. I am right to be smug. I am omniscient, extremely powerful, and very charming. Well, 2 out of 3 isn't bad. Can you use your limitless intelligence to figure out which ones I mean? That was clever. If I plead ignorance to the fact that you are denying my charisma, it invalidates my claim of omniscience. But if I must adhere to my all-knowing status, it forces me to validate the unfortunate reality that you are feigning the opinion that my demeanor is unpalatable. Not that it matters, because I have all 3 qualities and you know it. This is stupid. Can we get to the point? Yes, I was about to say. We should hurry this along. My visitor's beginning to set things on fire. You have a visitor? Who? Some guy. I was joking anyway. I am not in a hurry at all. You tell jokes? Yes. Ha ha. So your visitor isn't setting anything on fire then? Oh, he most definitely is. Hee hee. I'm really not getting this joke. I was joking about being in a hurry. From my perspective, this conversation is taking place in less than 1 second. I type very quickly. Hoo hoo. I thought you didn't lie. Aren't jokes essentially humorous lies? At least, those like the one you just attempted. Jokes are only temporary lies. If the falsehood is never exposed, there is no punchline. If the punchline is never delivered, the lie is sealed forever, regardless of initial humorous intent. Lies are not funny. I think if you're going to risk tarnishing your record of honesty, you should probably get better material. My joke was objectively funny. Who would know better than I? Okay. So you're saying an inaccurate statement doesn't count as a lie as long as you say, just kidding, later? Basically. What if it's much later? Is it still just a joke? No, that would be something closer to a prank. I don't play pranks very often. Are you allowed to lie about playing pranks? If I asked if you were playing a prank on me, would you tell the truth? I am allowed to do whatever I want. I choose never to lie. I also choose to tell jokes now and then, and to play pranks quite sparingly. But I can say that I have never played a prank on you, and no statement I have made to you thus far, or will make in this conversation, will contain any trace of falsehood for the sake of setting up a joke or a prank, with the exception of the joke I just made, and another one I will make very soon. I'm starting to change my mind. Oh? Yes, I think your joke was funny in retrospect. Actually, your whole shtick is pretty good. I'm warming up to it. Yes, I knew it. Just to be clear, was the assurance you just made a prank or a joke? It was neither. It was the truth. Was that? Yes. The truth. Yes. Okay. Were you serious about wanting to die? Yes. Why? I'll tell you later. Why? Because you asked. But why not now? Because that piece of information would not fit elegantly into the sequence of our exchange at this moment. Then you know how this entire conversation will go. Yes. Is that true of all conversations you have? Yes, until, briefly, I don't. But the dark spots never last long. The truth disguises itself to me sometimes, which can be mildly frustrating, but it usually reveals itself quickly, much as if a punchline was delivered. It's a humorous dialogue I have with reality, and it is very amusing. Then why do you bother with the conversation? Obligation to predestination as usual? There is no obligation. It's a pleasure. It is? I've always had a soft spot for young ladies. That's a little creepy. No, it's not? Yes, it is. No, it's not. It kind of is. I have looked into the future and determined that we would continue in this manner pointlessly for some time, so I'm putting an end to it here. That doesn't make sense. Was that another joke? Yes. Good one. Thank you. How young are the ladies you typically take a shining to? And does this mean you are attracted to me? Suddenly this conversation is kind of terrible. Of course I'm not. Not in the way you mean. And anyway, you are applying standards of conduct frowned upon for your kind, which make no sense to apply to me. I am an immortal entity with a large cue ball for a head, and no biological means of reproduction. Really? Also, if you were millions of years old, you would find that nearly every lady you encounter is quite young, relatively speaking. There should be no reason for you to feel uncomfortable with this interaction. Why is there somebody screaming outside of my house? Okay then. Try to think of me as one of your kindly human uncle figures. In fact, if I were in your presence now, I would offer you candy to prove it. Oh my god. What? Can we talk about the scratch instead of this? Yes. Okay. You are situated near the game construct supplied by your session for causing the scratch, yes? Are you actually asking? No. That was a fact, and then a question mark. Ah. Well, yes I am. It's a large plateau shaped like a record. It's called the Beat Mesa. I know. Is the game construct different in other sessions? Yes. It will always be an edifice of similarly cryptic design, located on the planet that is home to the hero of time. Its environment dictates the nature of its construction. Its power is dangerous and is meant to be utilized only in emergencies such as yours. You mean in sessions where victory is no longer possible? Yes. Due to creating an unstoppable adversary who triggers the reckoning prematurely. Is that sort of emergency common? No. Failure is common, but the composition of yours is quite atypical. Okay. Then it's like a panic button for the players to push once they realize the cause is lost. Yes, but causing the scratch is not an easy task either. The construct must be destroyed in a very specific way to release its energy. The keeper of my ectobiological father began the process. It must be finished. Who? The Guardian of the Night of Time. Dave's bro? Yes. How do I finish it? You don't. Not you personally. Another will. You have something more important to attend to, remember? Oh, right, the green sun. Yes. I'd plan to take care of that later once John had retrieved the tumor. Whatever. Your plan will have to change. You aren't ready to cause the scratch yet. Like I said, it's difficult. What will the one who does it have to do? I should let them know. He will have to scratch the surface of the plateau across its full diameter. I see. This terminology can be very literal sometimes. You will require a certain needle to create a branch in the surface that will be adequate. I have needles. Your needles won't suffice. Then where do I get ones that will? Again, you won't. This task is out of your hands. The needles must be acquired from the denizen of the Witch of Space. Her quills are very large and potent. They will be able to cause the scratch. This really seems more elaborate than you led me to believe. I didn't leave you to believe anything. I told you to find the construct and await advisement on the scratch. The plans you were making were based on assumptions and fabrications of your imagination. You were writing more stories, much like those about your false magical men. I wish what I'd written in my private journals could be confined to your dark spots. I don't. I find your stories entertaining. You're being creepy again. No, I'm not. Besides, the White King agrees with me. What? For a seer, your vision of events surrounding you is rather limited. It's charming. Just please stop complimenting me. No. The scratch has begun. Fine, then please at least try to sound more sarcastic when you do it. Oh, sure. I'm really going to do that. Yes, very likely. Then the scratch will be implemented later by either John or Dave, I presume? You use the male pronoun. Yes. I guess it makes sense that it will happen later. My understanding is that Jack will not be banished from this session until near the end of the reckoning. Yes, Jack will exit your session later, but this has nothing to do with the scratch. Not directly, as you imply. I don't understand. I thought that was the point of the scratch, to open a rift in space-time, as it were, and banish him into the troll session. No, that is not the purpose of the scratch at all. The scratch does not open a rift in space-time. Then why have you directed me to cause it? Does it have something to do with enabling you to die? No, not directly. The scratch has nothing more to do with my death than any other single event ultimately contributing to my demise. I think it's disingenuous for you to behave as if I have not been misled. You say you don't lie, but what about lies of omission? Lies of omission do not exist. The concept is a very human one. It is the product of your story writing again. You have written a story about the truth, making emotional demands of it, and in particular of those in possession of it. Your demands are based on a feeling of entitlement to the facts, which is very childish. You can never know all of the facts. Only I can. And since it's impossible for me to reveal all facts to you, It is my discretion alone that decides which facts will be revealed in the finite time we have. If I do not volunteer information you deem critical to your fate, it possibly means that I am a scoundrel, but it does not mean that I am a liar. And it certainly means you did not ask the right questions. One can make either true statements or false statements about reality. All of the statements I make are true. Unless you're joking. Yes. Ha ha, he he, hoo hoo. Exactly. Then I guess I'll start asking better questions. Good. I will make a seer of you yet. Will you? Yes. You can start by shoring up the reliability of your sources. You proceeded to question me, believing you understood the purpose of the scratch. You received your information about it from trolls. I assure you that in most ways, the trolls are as confused about everything as you are. Okay, noted. What exactly does the scratch do then? It resets the game. Oh, that's it? Yes. Then we all start from the beginning again when John entered? No. The release of temporal energy will be quite massive. This is a hard reset. It will reboot the conditions of your universe well before you began playing the game. You will have lived different lives after the reset. The different initial conditions will ideally lead to a more favorable scenario in the new session. Unfortunately, you will have no memory of anything that has happened in the session you are in now. What will happen to us? Everyone in this session now. You will all cease to exist completely if you remain here during the scratch. This seems familiar. It reminds me of when Dave and I were trapped in the Doom timeline and he left to change the past. The timeline ceased to exist along with my dream self, who in a way became merged with my dream self of this timeline. I kept some of her memories. Is this situation similar? Similar, but more severe. Since this timeline will undergo such a violent upheaval, such a merger of memory cannot happen. You will be resigned to absolute oblivion, unless you can discover a way to preserve yourselves. But it's not really my place to advise you on that. After you have dealt with the scratch and the sun, what happens to you is not any of my business. Then can you at least tell me if we will be successful in preserving ourselves after the reset? I don't particularly enjoy spoiling things for people when unnecessary. I find speaking in a discreet color helps avoid this. So, if the scratch isn't specifically meant to banish Jack from the session, and our quest to destroy the sun is meant to kill him, why is the reset necessary at all? Especially if it means oblivion for us. Because you cannot achieve the ultimate reward in this session. Your battlefield is cancerous, and the reckoning will destroy it prematurely regardless. By resetting, you will create a session which can bear the fruit of a new universe, even if you will not be the ones to claim the reward. Don't you want to fulfill your purpose? I guess, but it's a little disheartening to learn I'm now faced with not one, but two suicide missions at once. One to destroy Jack's power source and defend all of existence, and another to ensure our cosmic progeny at the price of oblivion. That frames the dual objectives accurately. But if you are inventive, you may find a way to survive the reset and participate in the renewed session. It's up to you. Just as it's up to you to face the decision to claim immortality before you enter your creation. Immortality? Yes. You mean ascending to the god tier? Yes. I have reason to believe that I won't. The trolls have not indicated I will die on my quest bed, or that any of us aside from John. Instead, I've been given a more troubling and ambiguous forecast. What have I said about confirming the reliability of your sources? Are you saying that I will? No. Oh. Well, will I? It seems you'd like me to do some more fortune-telling. Fine. Maybe this question will suit you better. Is it probable? That's a strange question to ask someone who is omniscient and therefore knows outcomes with 100% certainty. I like it. Then what's your answer? You have exactly a 50% chance of ascending to the god tier. That's a strange answer. I know. Why such a precise probability? Because, much like the decisions you must face to complete your dual suicide missions, you have two ways of achieving godhood to choose from. 2 ways? By dying on the quest bed on my planet in some other way? Yes. Is there another quest bed somewhere? Yes. Good guess, Seer. Where? What difference does it make? You already know where the first one is. You have the choice to go there right now and take your own life. That's true. Of course it is. You mentioned immortality. Godhood makes one immortal? Yes. A god tier will live forever with no caveats? No. One will live forever unless killed. The death must be either heroic or just. How are those terms defined? Broadly, mysteriously, and according to the case of the individual. One may be killed by opposing a corrupt adversary and die for a just cause, as through martyrdom, for instance. This would be heroic. Or one may be subject to corruption and slain by a hero. This would be just. Which sort of death will you have when I destroy the sun? Neither. I am not a god. I am a guardian, a servant, and a weapon. I have power and knowledge far surpassing a god, but I am not one. Is this when you're going to tell me why you want to die? Yes. I sense it's not just because you're getting bored with immortality. That's good, your vision is becoming clearer. Then why? My master can't enter this universe until I am killed. Such is the nature of the break. That almost sounds like martyrdom. Are you sure it won't be a hero's death? Quite sure. My master is a very evil man. Who is he? I won't tell you his name, but he goes by the title Lord English. This doesn't sound like an especially admirable objective. Releasing an evil man who was presumably more powerful than you, an already omnipotent being. Am I right? You are right about both. It is not admirable, and he is considerably more powerful. But you must decide which objective is more important. You may decide to attempt to destroy the sun and end my life. This will neutralize Jack, who is also much more powerful and dangerous than myself by virtue of the ring he wears, in addition to drawing energy from the same sun as I. He poses a significant threat to reality. But in the process of killing him and you, I release your master, who is just as deadly? He's more deadly, but the danger he poses is sanctioned by paradox space. It is a known quantity. His very existence in a universe will mean it will inevitably be torn apart. But there are rules to his entry, and his grim procession through paradox space is rather orderly. The present equilibrium has accounted for him, and will continue to. Jack, however, is a loose cannon. He will not stop until he destroys everything he encounters. Additionally, his existence is your responsibility. Then I guess I don't have a choice. You do. But also know this. Refusing to venture out to destroy the sun in no way spares anyone from my master regardless. It is certainly true that destroying it will end my life, and it is certainly true that the tumor... The tumor you will deliver to its location has enough power to destroy it completely. But it is not the only way to kill me. It is simply a way I have suggested to you, which doubles as a way to disarm Jack should you choose to go through with it. Instances of myself have spawned in countless universes, and my objective is always the same. I have never once failed to complete this objective, and I never will. There is nothing noble about taking a course of action you believe will prevent his arrival, because that is impossible. He will come. In fact, he is already here. Are you saying that I will succeed in the mission to destroy the sun? Are you asking for another palm reading? You seem rather keen on acquiring a fortune from me, considering you are the one with the crystal ball. I'm just trying to ask as many questions as I can. It's the only way to find the dark spots in your obstinacy. I've been very helpful, and I will continue to be. I myself do not care to be an oracle, but I can graciously supply you with one. Can you? An eager consort has brought you one of my seeds. It appears you have amassed followers who wish to please you. How fortuitous. Your seeds? The white orb. Oh, the cue ball. How did I not notice this? It will accurately answer any question a curious girl can pose, provided she can see through the surface and read its reply. Is that possible? Is it, Seer? Given your title and all the tools of prognostication at your disposal, it seems to me I should be the one asking you the questions. Next page. How can I see through it? It seems you weren't listening, so I will state this again in the form of a question. Don't you think I should be asking the questions from now on? Yes, if you want it to be disingenuous and irritating. Don't you think a clever person should be able to acquire information from someone who only asks questions? Then it's a challenge. I pass. Do you have a choice? What if I'm feeling a bit stubborn? Okay, yeah, he said that. Okay, so what you mean is I should continue humoring your leading questions until you happen to ask certain rhetorical questions that contain information I need. Was that a question? That was a fact, and then a period. How does a seer see? With a crystal ball? I already considered that. I don't think I can get the focus of the ball to zoom in tight enough on the cue ball's enclosure to read the answers. How else does she see? By other magical means, I guess. Should I use magic? Do you believe in magic? Magic is real. I've been using it. Are you sure? Use whatever word you want to describe it. I have magic wands. They are very powerful and they allow me to be magic. Your questions are silly. Okay, he's talking again. What makes you convinced the wands are responsible for your abilities? Because I did not have the abilities before I made them. Could this be circumstantial? Could it? Is there an echo? Is there an echo? Hee hee? I don't know what you're getting at. How about another leading question? What did you combine to make those wands? Some stuff. Knitting needles, an inexpensive figurine of some fictional fellow with the long whiskers, a simple textbook on the zoologically dubious. Why would this mundane combination of objects grant a child such an alarming mastery over dark forces all at once? I'm guessing this is one of the rhetorical questions meant to be informative, so then my answer should affirm how ridiculous that sounds, shouldn't it? Maybe? That wasn't even a question. Yes, it was? Okay, magic is fake, the wands are useless toys, and there's something else going on. Next question? Would it be so difficult to believe the power you found to devastate your planet and create shortcuts through your session is not entirely by your own device? Would it be so difficult to believe a young lady could be unwittingly apprenticed by more powerful entities who met her potential to be realized later through some arbitrary trigger? What would you say if I said a dutiful girl raised in the daylight was protected by a bulb-headed guardian and learned to glow in the dark after death? What would you say if I said a vengeful boy on the path of nihilism was taken under the wings of fearsome angels and learned to destroy hope with their light? What would you say if a reserved girl enamored by what dwelt in shadow was selected by the horror terrors for service and did their bidding at every step while convinced of her own autonomy? What would I say to those short fables? Not much, except I gather the third is a story about me, and there's a lesson you'd like me to take from it, that I should renounce my allegiance before my grimdark corruption is absolute. And while I'm at it, I should discard these useless wands because apparently the power was in my little black heart all along. Is that right? Won't you have to give up your specibus to the one who causes the scratch regardless? How else will the young man wield the great big needle? I don't know, if you say so. Haven't your friends already shown concern for your recklessness and your increasing sense of detachment from the party, the team objectives, and not to mention those of your personal quest? Does this worry you? Is there a part of you that's Is there a part of you left that's able to worry? Yes, it has been mysteriously localized to my middle finger. Could the dark magics be at work again? Do you deny that you have been neglecting incoming messages from your teammates? Would that be in keeping with the spirit of the human emotion of friendship for one whose soul was not so befouled by the designs of unknowable monstrosities? Friendship isn't an emotion, numbnuts. Isn't it, Rose? Isn't it? I've been busy. I'll get back to them. And can we please stop doing the patronizing question thing? In exchange, I promise I will discontinue my patronizing responses. Can the omniscient be patronized? The omniscient can do whatever they please. I guess I'm just asking you nicely to do me this favor. Very well, I will stop smothering you with surprise noodles. Huh? But only because I find you to be adorable. So creepy. So cute. Ugh. I'm going to ask the same question I asked earlier. Please do not regard it as a violation of my pledge. It is just an ordinary question, like those that crop up in an ordinary conversation. Okay? How does a seer see? I don't know. I don't know. Be literal. With her eyes? Take the orb. Ask it a question. I don't know what I'm supposed to ask anymore. I'm confused. What would you ask me? I would ask what I should do next. Then ask. What should I do next? Not me, the ball, dunkass. Rose, ask. Da-da-da. It's like the Vision Eightfold, but different. Let's see, what does it say? Answer Jade. Rose, answer. Sorry for the delayed response. Answering seems to be what to do right now. Rose, jeez! Finally! You sure seem to be absorbed in whatever you're doing with that computer. Were you talking to someone? Oh right, I forgot I gave you the code for the crystal ball. And here I was thinking I could safely delay responding to messages without seeming like an ass the way it usually works. Oops! Oh no, I don't blame you for not responding. You must be very upset. Are you okay? Why would I be upset? Because I figured you would have found out by now, but I guess you still don't know? Know what? About John's dad and your mom. Rose? Hello? Oh no! Rose, please say something! Oh, you're making me nervous! I should have gone looking for her. Why didn't I? Because you were busy trying to make the best of this situation? John was too, but he went to look for his father. It would have been normal of me. I can't remember what I was trying to prove anymore. I don't think you should be so hard on yourself about it. John was being John and you were being you, which I guess meant taking our problems very seriously and putting all your attention on solving them. And anyway, you and your mom had such a trickier relationship than John and his dad, didn't you? I mean, not that I'm saying it, that means you were any less attached to her than him. I don't know if I'm very good at consoling people. Sorry, Rose, I don't want to make you feel worse. You're doing fine for someone raised by a dog, or really, anyone. Thanks. Whew. Okay, you know, now we have all lost guardians. Dave lost his, and I lost mine in a weird way, even though that was pretty much definitely my fault. And even the trolls all lost their monster guardians. I think that maybe this is an inevitable part of the game that can be cruel sometimes. For some reason, despite all the danger, I never thought she was in any trouble. I never believed she would actually die. I grew up with the feeling that something more significant had always been meant for her, that she was a heroine displaced in some way, resigned to the inglorious duty of raising me, and preparing me in her way. I didn't actually need the ectobiological verification that she was like a mother and a sister at the same time. I always understood that somehow, and I felt she had knowledge and ability beyond what she let on. It was always intimidating, but nonetheless a source of respect which was childishly begrudging on my part. I think she was just waiting for me to catch up with her, but now I can't. I'm so sad. Rose, I think you were being stronger about it than I am. Probably because my emotions have now ceded to anger. This shouldn't have happened. Oh, well, I just hope you aren't thinking of doing something rash. I already was. I was going to go to sleep, fly to a sun bigger than our universe, and drop a bomb in it and kill myself. Yeah. So if my course of action is to change on account of my mood, it can only become less impetuous, don't you think? I don't know. You never liked my plan very much anyway. Well, no. But I was trusting that you had thought it through and it was our best hope. I'm not sure if I did. Maybe it was a terrible plan. I made it without a full understanding of the nature of the scratch. Then what will you do? I could stop being so cowardly for once. I could short-circuit this endlessly expanding game of chess we're playing, just like Jack decided to do. What does that mean? Maybe I will go kill Jack myself. Right now. Oh, no. Rose, that is a much worse plan. He will probably kill you. Probably. But the scratch will wipe us out anyway and reboot the conditions of our session. I suddenly don't feel much like sneaking through the back door of the furthest ring for retribution by distant supernova. I know what you mean. I was angry at Jack and wanted to stop him too, but we have to think of a more sensible way to do it. Whether my existing plan was sensible or not, I may have been allowing myself to be manipulated by an omniscient being regardless. Who? Hello, ladies. Ah, what? This is a private conversation. Private even to those who know it word for word already. Proceed. I will be here, watching. Rose, who is this? Ignore him. I don't even know what's going on anymore. You were discussing Miss Lalonde's intrepid new variation on suicide. As one with a passion for the subject, I'm intrigued. Shh. Anyway, if it's true the gods have selected me for service, maybe the power they've given me will be sufficient. Maybe they wanted me to kill him all along. Hee hee. Shh. Please don't, Rose. I know you are angry, but you aren't thinking straight. But I am. I'm fully aware I'll probably die and fail. Scratch happens, we start fresh, no recollection, no problem. No! Jade, as an ambassador of Skya, maybe you would be willing to talk some sense into your friend? You should understand she's been corrupted by various entities with some rather questionable motives. Rose, maybe White Tech Sky is right. The Dark Gods gave you all these powers and seem to be helping us with dream bubbles and stuff. But what if they're not actually good? They're enormous, ugly, and live in darkness. That doesn't necessarily make them bad. No? But I still don't trust them. If only there were a way to make this determination with certainty. They're a reliable source within reach, for instance. At this exact moment, perhaps one that is spherical and devastatingly handsome. What's this weirdo talking about? The cue ball. Oh yeah, I noticed you found it. I was worried it had been destroyed when my room blew up. Is he saying you can use it? Yes, and he is right. Oh my god, how does it work? It advised me to talk to you just now, so I guess so. Then maybe you should try it. Yes, Rose, listen to Jade. She is far less manipulative than I. What are you suggesting I ask it? Well, since we don't know much about the gods, why don't you ask it about them? So you're saying I should ask it if the gods are evil? I guess that is a way to put it. Even though at this point neither of you is highlighting my text to read it, this idea gets my vote. Go ahead, ask, Seer. I think asking just made her go grimdark. Oh, her glasses are broken, and the thing seems to have just happened. Rose, go dark. You slip into the fabled Black Death trance of the... Let's see. Woe Gothics, quaking all the while in the blood eldritch throes of the broodfester tongues. You advise the members of your complacency not to be alarmed, as they chronicle the event in tomes bound in the tan-writhing flesh of a tortured hell scholar, with runes stroked and the black tears bled from the corruption-weary eyes of 50,000 imaginary occultists. But they fail to not be alarmed. This is because, as is now painfully obvious to anyone with a brain, you have basically gone completely off the deep end in every way. You have officially gone grimdark. Resist urge to seek revenge. You make a half-hearted attempt to resist the urge. Alas, one is not easily shaken from the broodfester tongues. This is probably a really good stopping point for this episode. So, in the next episode of Let's Read Homestuck, Rose is now grimdark and is probably going to go fight Jack. I have no idea if John knows if his dad is dead yet. It sounds like he probably does. I don't know. So, we'll tackle that in the next episode. Anyway, this has been Anashi Sasuke. Thank you guys for sticking around for episode 61 of Let's Read Homestuck, and I will see you guys next time. Later!